I love you.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? You are listening to Mike on the Mic. Obviously, you're listening to the Shy Kid podcast. I'm here with the legend himself, the king of Go F Yourself, Luke Smith. How we feeling, baby?
What's going on, bro? That was catchy. I like that. That was smooth what you did right there.
Man, a little something every now and again. Chance the Rapper don't got nothing on us on the north side. I'll tell you that. But man, talk to me, bro, really quick, man. It's been about a year since we came on the pod together officially. Me on TikTok Live sometimes. The softball world. Talk to me about the softball world right now. How we going?
It's good, bro. Traveled a little bit. Was in Florida in January, and you can't beat warm weather softball when it's snowing outside back home. So I mean, y'all know how it is in Chicago, but
Man,
yeah, it's good, bro. Keeping those
man.
competitive juices going.
Most definitely. And I have no idea what just popped up on your head. I don't know if you saw that little that I see it right
Oh,
there. Leave a like. I don't know if that was what the StreamYard update was today. But if it was not worth it. So never do that shit again. Um I don't know. But shout out StreamYard. But man, let's get into it. I want to know what you like and what you don't like from our Chicago Bears. What we found out today. There were some fake tweets going around. There were some real tweets going around. What is confirmed is Tyler Scott will be wearing the number 10. Number 13 is officially gone. The fake rumor was that Keenan Allen chose number 15. That was debunked earlier today. But the craziest one, the one that's got me going right now, after 4 years of being a Chicago Bear, after finally being like, you have earned the number 33 that was once worn by Charles Peanut Tillman. I mean, Jaylon Johnson decides, hey, man, anybody could wear one but Caleb. I'm making sure it's not happening. Jaylon Johnson is going back to his old collegiate number 1 that he wore in college. How do you feel about the jersey switch 4 years later?
it's a. I don't know. You know that Jalen and Fields are boys. I don't know if it's some way to like pay him his respects or something.
Mm,
But I do know that if there's any pettiness going on with a quarterback that you know is coming, that needs to get out the window now
right.
because we know who the quarterback's going to be. There's no sense in an ego battle with a rookie quarterback when you have all this talent on the field that he's going to come in and play with. So I hope it was out of respect for Justin, just to be like, yo, this is my boy. I want to, represent him in whatever way he wants. But, if it's about so Caleb can't wear it, then we got to get this pettiness out the window because we got the playoffs to go out, to get after this year. So I don't need that extra drama going on. That doesn't mean
Right.
anything.
And I don't think, for myself personally, I've never met the man, but I don't see Jaylon as being that kind of guy.
Right.
His comments that he made about Caleb being Hollywood and that shit's not going to fly here, I didn't take it the way a lot of the outside media took it. I was like, no, that's Chicago Bears football. He's just saying that's not flying here. Flus is not going to let that fly. The defense is going to hold these guys accountable, and rightfully so. You know what I mean? Like Justin Fields could have came in here acting like a complete jag coming out of OSU. I mean, he did amazing things over there. He's a Heisman finalist how many times, So you look at that and you go, okay, look, at the end of the day, as long as he's coming in here and he's putting in that work, I have no problem with this kid. And I like that. But on the other side of things, I do question why you're wearing number 1. And I think there's levels to it. Like we saw Eddie Jackson do the same thing. The second they let secondary players or even linemen wear single digit numbers, you're kind of like, oh, you've seen a lot of switches. Eddie Jackson went from 39 to 4, which he wore at Alabama. And now you're starting to see Jaylon Johnson, who couldn't wear number 1 due to Justin Fields being here, maybe now says, hey, I want to go back to the number that I wore my entire career. So I definitely see both sides. From a fan perspective, though, I mean, it's shitty, bro. It really is. Especially, you see he gets paid. You see he gets paid the same offseason and you're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll get my girl a Jaylon Johnson 33 jersey. Maybe I'll get my son a Jaylon Johnson 33 jersey.
Maybe
He's
I'll
gonna
get
be here.
myself a Jalen Johnson
Maybe
33 jersey.
myself. I mean, like it's just one of those things where it's like, man, like you just got extended a 4-year deal. Everyone's buying your jerseys. Everyone's been wearing your jersey the last 4 years, and you switch. I completely commend you to whatever you want to do. Look good, play good, feel good. I believe it. It's a mentality. Dion was right when he said it. Ken Griffey was right when he said it, and it speaks volumes. But it's like my wallet hurts when you look good, and that's really the main problem for me. Is like 4 years later is kind of crazy, man.
No doubt. Yeah. But hey, I'll tell you what, man, if he goes out and puts up numbers like he has the last couple years,
Sure,
he can wear whatever number he wants, man.
number uno. That's
I
number
want to I
one.
want to see the back of number one heading to the end zone with the ball in his hand. That's all I want.
Lock down, lock down. I
Mhm.
love it. Or I like it. I don't know. If that's gonna happen every time, I can't do this anymore. But we will be going to Streamlabs from here on out. But no, but it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. But I wanna ask you something. Love it, like it, hate it. Where are you at with this right now? Caleb Williams, pink cell phone case. He says your girl loves it. How did you feel about the whole thing going down with that? Because personally, myself, I want to paint you this picture because you and I kind of talked about it in the live on TikTok. Man, do you think it could be a real conversation that Caleb Williams say he comes out here, say he's the hottest thing since pants with pockets as it pertains to Bears quarterbacks? I could see guys going to Soldier Field painting their fingernails, saying F Green Bay on it if he plays well enough. Like I think this is a trendsetter. I think maybe you love it, maybe you hate it, but I think regardless, you're gonna have to accept it because I think if he comes in here and he balls out MVP numbers, not gonna say Mahomes numbers because I'm really getting tired of that narrative. But if he's balling out, Luke, I have no problem with it. I think it brings a little bit of swag to the game.
I agree, man. And as Bear fans, we can attest to this. He reminds me like the personality of what Aaron Rodgers was.
Mm,
And as Bear fans, we can also attest that every time that man came to Chicago or we went to Green Bay, we walked away with a loss on our record.
yep.
And a lot of that has to do with the persona of the quarterback. Who would you say just off the top of your head, who's the best quarterback in Bears history?
Man, you want my real answer?
Yeah.
Josh McCown.
Okay.
Because
What
I'll
about
I'll tell you why it's Josh. In my 24 years of life, I saw this man, 12-year-old Mike Hughes, around Christmas time, saw this man go into Lombardi, throw 5 tutties, and get that dub. And that was something I never saw another Bears quarterback replicate. And I was like, and rightfully so, none of you guys have earned my respect enough for me to say that you're the best Bears quarterback. Now, I think Justin's the best athletic Bears quarterback. I think
who's
Jay,
the only quarterback that's won a Super Bowl?
man, Jim McMahon. And then
That's what I'm saying is the
you
best
look at
quarterback.
Sid though. Sid has a lot of champs. Sid has a lot of championships. They're just not Super Bowl championships.
Right. But
But
I go back and I look at McMahon and
yeah,
that persona of like the
the
I'm gonna
bad
be my
boy.
own person. Yeah, no one can tell me how to act. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Right,
That's what wins.
right.
And Chicago, man, if you have that and you allow the fan base to buy into a quarterback that plays like that, dude, it's gonna be pretty. And especially with what he's walking into, like I don't care what he does, man. I'm as long as he plays football and does it at a high level, he can he can I don't care he can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter.
For
But
sure.
it's just as Bear fans, we're in uncharted territory getting a prospect like this that it's very rare that the beginning of the like as soon as the draft is set and we know who's picking, it's very rare that there's one guy and there's one guy and
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be in the Bears shoes where they know who they're picking from day one.
Did you see Bleacher Report today though?
What they do?
Oh man, they did their
Oh
new
yeah, the
mock
rankings that
draft.
came out and Drake Mays one, dude. So
Drake May is
th-
number one. I say get
they're
out of here.
they're just running out of stuff to talk about, bro.
Yeah, the
I've said that the last
disrespect.
couple weeks, man. It's like you know who's won. Everybody
Right.
had good pro days. Then Caleb has his, and they're like, oh shit, yeah, this guy's back to where we are,
Right. And
back to number one. And
it blew my mind, but I love what you said because I think we don't talk about, Jim McMahon enough. First of all, the man had only one good eye. It's why he was wearing sunglasses the majority of the time. So we're not going to act like he was perfect either. He was very flawed, but he got the job done. He's pissing off Mike Ditka. He's pissing off Buddy Ryan. He's calling audibles. He's doing all the wrong things off the field with drinking and partying. And you could say those are the wrong things. You could also say that he's just being a quarterback. That's what quarterbacks do. And it's a
Dennis Rodman,
blast. Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute blast to see these guys be able to go out there and do that stuff. I remember hearing the story of, I think he had a bruise on his ass, and there was a news helicopter flying over to see if Jim McMahon could practice, and he flashed the helicopter to show them that his ass was perfectly fine. And like that's one of those storylines where it's like you might look at that from the outside looking in and be like, yo, this guy's reckless. This guy can't command a locker room. But if you're that locker room, there's nobody else you want to go to war with. So they're two very different people. And I heard you say the name Dennis Rodman. I'm completely there with you. I mean, we have a picture of Dennis in a dress, in a wedding gown, and doing all the things he was doing for the Chicago Bulls. Hey, man, three-peat at the end of the day. I mean, I'm not saying that we have a Michael Jordan of football on this team. I'm just saying that we have a championship caliber roster in the works. And I'm really excited to see what they could become of this. And even after today, we see the podcast come out of Montez Sweat. He says, I'm not losing to Green Bay this year. That's flat out what he said. And he said he didn't understand the rivalry when he first came here. He wasn't accustomed to it, but he grew to love it. And he's not losing to them, whether it's, the 2 games we play them or maybe even a third in the playoffs. But for Montez Sweat to be the leader of this team right now, you were super vocal about it. Where are you at right now as it pertains to pass rushers in the NFC North? Where would you rank Montez Sweat?
I mean,
Because Danielle Hunter's gone. So
yeah,
I think I
he's
would put him
one, I
at
think.
2.
Who's your one?
I'd put Aiden at 1.
Okay, okay. I mean, yeah, but honestly, I don't think the gap is that far. Like,
I don't think it's that far
I
at all.
think you can make a case for Montez just like you could for Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like the vocal leadership that you bring, like it's much more than just the player that he is. It's the leadership, and it's like the. I'll tell you what, bro. I don't want to be the quarterback lining up opposite of Montez Sweat.
No, I
Like
mean,
it's when you can, but it brings me back to like the Khalil Mack. Like when you
yep,
have that type of player on the line, there's a clock in every quarterback's head saying where is Montez at? Because I've had this
right.
ball a little bit too long, and he's coming. You know he's coming. So just the mind games that he can play is you know
It's insane.
or
And
what it's what separates him. And he's done it a little longer than Aiden. Hey, Aiden's tough, dude. Aiden is very good.
Aiden's a dog. And I think that's the reason I put him over him is because he's so young and having so much success this early. I'm like, okay, well,
Mhm.
he's just going to continue to grow. But I also want to your point of it, like Montez is also as a man. This isn't science. This is just facts. Like as a man, he is entering his athletic prime, 26,
Mhm.
27 years old. That's when guys are the best at the highest level, unless you're me and kind of peak out at like 17. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how these guys pan out. But man, December 16th, 2020 or 2018 was the last time we beat the Green Bay Packers. And to be able to make that statement, it's a bold statement because many have tried and many have failed. And not just with Rodgers. That was the old time excuse. Well, it's Aaron Rodgers. Now it's Jordan Love whooping our ass twice a year. So it's like for us to be able to be in this position today, to hear that from Montez, how important is it to not only walk the walk but talk the talk? Because we've heard guys talk about it before. We've heard Fields. I mean, we've heard Ryan Poles. We're going to take the North and never give it back. You make a statement like this. How heavy do you think Bears fans are going to hold you to that standard now?
Well, we like you said, we've heard it before. It's all talk until it's not,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where you got to look at it. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be the person that tells Montez he's wrong. Like when you can walk into a season with like a chip on your shoulder and a reason to go about the off season, a certain way, you have an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And man, like I'm glad he's finally starting to understand what that Green Bay Chicago rivalry is like, because I got plenty of buddies that are Packer fans that I have my number on speed dial the Sunday the Bears play the Packers,
It's the
and
worst.
they're texting me at halftime because they know it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I'm ready for that narrative to switch. I think you have the right quarterback coming in to do that, not only talent wise, but mindset wise. And man, in the NFL and in sports in general, like if you have an edge with how you think and how you prepare, you're setting yourself up for success.
Right.
And it seems like the Bears are starting to get not only good players, but good players that know how to do that.
Right.
And that's what's exciting. You can go get the best roster, but if you have the best roster of guys that are built like Stephon Diggs, that wherever he goes, it turns to, mold, you're not going to be good. And I
For
think Diggs
sure.
is a great player, but there's baggage that comes with it, and that matters.
Oh yeah,
And
and there's a reason we don't give a second round pick for Stephon Diggs. You know what I mean? There's a reason you don't go after Devontae Adams. And I think there's so many levels to it, and I think continuity is the big word. You want guys who are going to be here for the foreseeable future, and you want to build. I actually listened to Ryan Poles. I think the Bears just dropped it on YouTube. I think you would. I'll send it to you. I think you'll rock with it. It's a pretty really well done video. Ryan talks about giving up on Fields and losing them and trading them away. Jaylon Johnson talks about the defense. There's a lot of key parts to this. Talks about bringing in Gerald Everett, bringing in DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, et cetera, et cetera. It was a really great video and kind of talking about guys who not only add to the roster, but multiply to the roster. Guys who are going to be able to help each other grow and help play in the same level scheme. And I think with Shane Waldron, it was seen very early on in Shane's introduction that, yeah, Fields is probably gone because he didn't mention his name one time. You were on the Caleb train very early, and that's, we're not sitting here whatsoever to anybody tuning in. Luke was not anti Justin Fields. There's a,
right,
there's a very big difference between guys
right.
who just hated him and guys who were like, this is what we have to do. So
Mhm.
for you, how early in the 2023 season where you were like, hey man, if we have the number one pick, we got to go with Caleb. Like, how soon were you giving up on the Justin Fields train in Chicago?
Well, I'll be real with you, man. Like when we lost to the Packers week one, I mean, I was all in. Like
Mhm.
man, the Bears are good this year. We made the right off season adjustments. Fields has taken his next step, and that third year can be a big time. That's where you see guys make their big step.
Right.
And when there was and you have DJ Moore, right? So you
Of
bring in
course.
a number one receiver. Obviously, DJ had his best season he's had,
Career
but
year.
it also has a lot to say with what else we were rolling with. Like when Darnell Mooney's your two, you better throw the football to DJ Moore quite a bit
Right.
because Darnell Mooney ain't a number two on any NFL team.
And you and I even talked about, man, the only wide receiver after DJ Moore to catch a touchdown the entire season was week 2, week 3, Chase Claypool. You didn't even hit Darnell Mooney the rest of the year.
Right.
Or Tyler Scott or St. Brown or I'm not even going to say Valus, but Valus was there. So, there's levels to it. And I think to that point you're making, it's like it was really DJ or bust for me. And Cole had his moments, but from a wide receiver perspective, like I've seen Patrick Mahomes take nobodies and put them in positions to have success. Now Hartman and Rice aren't nobodies, but we've seen other guys on that roster who have gotten opportunities, and it's like a guy even made Tony look good here and there. You know what I mean? So I just
Mhm.
think I would agree with what you're saying right now. Is like it was just either it was Luke Getsy's lack of confidence in Fields throwing the ball, or Justin just not being able to make those throws.
Yeah, and then I mean, in the fourth quarter, like you're not going to be a good quarterback if you can't pass the football. Fields had
Right.
the worst QBR of any quarterback in the fourth quarter, and when you lose 3 games this year, when you're winning by 10 points in the fourth quarter, something's got to change. So, Caleb is a guy that's gonna, I'm not expecting a perfect season. He's gonna throw
For
picks
sure.
but
Yeah.
it's because he throws the ball down the field. Philip Rivers threw picks. Philip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. Like the best of the best are going to throw interceptions because they take risks. But when you have a defense like we have, it's okay to take risks because we have someone to back you up. It's very rare, especially it's rare for a number one pick overall to come into a good offense or good defense.
Hmm.
It's extremely rare for them to come into both. So when you don't when you as a quarterback can come in and say, okay, there can be games where if I'm not on my best, our defense is good enough to win the ball game for us. You bring in 1,000-yard rusher from a team where the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, he wanted to run before passing is what it looked like.
Right.
So when you can rush for 1,000 yards with a quarterback that also rushed for damn near 1,000 yards, you're a pretty damn good running back.
And how many touchdowns were taken away from DeAndre Swift because of the tush push thing? And it's like, you know what I mean?
No
Like you
doubt.
take that into account. Bears aren't doing that. And it's like, I think it's going to be key. It's going to be pivotal. Even Gerald Everett, who, I mean, if you had him on fantasy, if he's not rosterable on fantasy, but he definitely does a lot of things that nobody notices on a statistic sheet. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where I think blocking wise, this is going to make Cole Kmet be able to be the best version of himself because Cole's
Right.
going to be able to just go out there and be him. I'm excited about it. And I want to pose you this question before we talk about the draft and we get out of here. I really want to like just have a real honest conversation. Caleb Williams, rookie year stats, expectation wise, would you, Luke Smith today, be okay with 2018 Mitch Trubisky numbers? That right now is a 95.4 passer rating 3,223 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Would that to you be a good first year for Caleb Williams?
No, because Mitch Trubisky wasn't throwing to Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, DeAndre Swift.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting. eh,
Marvin Harrison Jr. Anyway,
Hey, we'll get to that. We'll
we'll
get
get
to
to
that.
that. We'll
I'm
get to that.
I'm expecting like I'm expecting close to what CJ did last year,
Okay.
because that is like,
That was like what, 30 and less than 10?
yeah, but CJ threw for 4,000 yards,
Right, right, right.
and that's what I want. I want to throw the football, because that was dope. I want to throw the football. With what Caleb has shown, there should be no limitations to it. And you get Getsy out, you get the guy that, screen pass after screen pass.
Sure.
That's not who Caleb is. He's a playmaker. He stretches out plays. He lets guys get open. He has the best third down receiver in Keenan Allen, in my opinion, in the NFL. And
Sure.
you have your deep ball threat with DJ Moore. You have two good tight end options, whoever's on the field, and then you have DeAndre Swift, who's a playmaker in the backfield, that if you do get in trouble, get him the ball, let him go to work. So there's no excuse. The line is beefed up. You don't have any pressure. It's like, because you know the defense is going to back you up if something happens. Throw the ball down the field. Third down, go to Keenan or go to Komet. They're two great options, and let's move the ball down the field. And in the fourth quarter, throw the football, because you win football games in the NFL by throwing the football in the fourth quarter. That's how you do it.
Now, I do want to ask you this though, because this is something that obviously you and I will rehash this in a couple weeks after the 25th, 26th, and 27th. But are you buying into this offensive line? I'm looking at bringing in Ryan Bates, bringing in Coleman. What is it, Sheldon Coleman? Bringing in a couple guys who Bates obviously learning on the bench for the Buffalo Bills, and Coleman, who started the majority of the year in Los Angeles with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. But really, if we're being completely honest, Luke, I mean, Tevin Jenkins, still a lot of questions health wise. Dog, when he plays,
Right.
Pro Bowler. But he's, you know what I mean? Darnell Wright, very confident. Braxton Jones, that's a walk and hold. And I really don't know what I have out of Nate Davis, because and I want to say this again. I always express this. I understand a death in the family is huge. You missed the majority of preseason and OTAs in the summer. You had a lot of stuff in your personal life going on, but the production just wasn't there for what we paid him. And I think there's a lot of questions at that center position. I don't know how deep this offensive line really is. Are you buying it? If this was it today, if we don't draft another offensive lineman, is this offensive line that better than it was in 2023?
I think it's definitely an upgrade. I do think that there are moves to be made still, and that's why we have the draft. So, 1 and 9, you can guarantee are going to be blue chip playmakers. Or if you trade up or trade back, whatever you do, you're getting two playmakers. You're getting Caleb, and you're getting somebody that he can rock with for his tenure in Chicago.
Right.
Right now, I mean, we also have to look at it the way getting Caleb Williams is not like, he is still a mobile quarterback.
Oh, for sure. I mean, looking at 27 rushing touchdowns, over 900 yards at US,
Right.
or even collegiately. I don't know what he did in his first school he was at.
So like
He's mobile for sure.
he can run. So, it's not like we're getting a Tom Brady guy where he's going to be in the pocket all the time. That's what makes Caleb so good. He can
Right.
get out of the pocket and still make elite throws. His arm strength is unbelievable. So, yeah, there's going to be times where the pocket collapses quick, but when you have a playmaker that isn't just like, as soon as he gets out of the pocket, he's not dead set on, I'm running the football. It's, where's Keenan? Where's DJ? Okay, they're still
Mm-hmm.
covered. Now I'm going to run. That's what Aaron Rodgers was. And I'm not saying, shit, I hope to God he's Aaron Rodgers. That would be unbelievable if
I
that's what he
would,
turns out to be.
man, when he said Aaron Rodgers was his favorite player of all time, I was happy about it, because I'd
Right.
rather, respectfully, because this is my dog, that's my guy. I'd be so disappointed if he said it was Josh McCown. Like
No doubt.
that's just what it is, bro. Like what do
You
you want
got to
me
be
to?
realistic.
Jay Cutler's my favorite quarterback of all time. Oh, bro. Why?
It's going to be
You know what?
long. Exactly. We're going to have a long tenure with Caleb Williams if that's the case. But when you,
Exactly.
when you watch people that like, you watch people who you want to emulate. And if you can emulate Aaron Rodgers, dude. Now again, this is me getting excited. I'm not saying he's going to be Aaron Rodgers, but if you can get out of the pocket, stretch plays out so that you can make the big play without forcing it, like Fields did all the time,
Right.
we're going to be better because of it. So back to your original question, we definitely can still upgrade the line. I think the draft is gonna, if it's me, our last two picks are probably addressing the line,
I would say so.
um, because you already have pieces. Like you've put it together. You've put the puzzle piece together to create a really good roster to bring in your quarterback and a blue chip player, and then get you a couple pieces to help protect your quarterback, and let's run with it.
And I would say both of those picks go to both of the lines. I think the trenches are going to be addressed on both defensively and offensively. Still looking for that second pass rusher. I feel like I thought a Leonard Floyd reunion would have been nice. But going to the Niners is crazier than anything. But I think at the end of the day, man, it's going to be interesting. The rumor mill going around, whether there's validity to it or not, I do not care. We are talking about it because it's in my dreams, and I know it's in yours. Marvin Harrison Jr. That's the guy I wanted to rock out with Fields. I said, give me Keenan, give me DJ, give me Marvin and all them dogs, and let's run with JF1. But that's just not the case. But the conversation is it realistic that the Chicago Bears could trade up number 9 to get into the top 4, whether I presumably that's with the Arizona Cardinals, to get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. to run with each other for the next 4+ years together?
I would say it is because of the plethora of picks that we have next year. Um, it just depends on what you think is going to be available. Like
Right.
I would love Rome at 9,
Yeah.
but you'd be crazy to say that you would prefer Rome over Marv. Like if you have to give up like your 9 and then like a second and a third next year, I don't know. Like I
Right.
don't know how worth it that is, because
And
I do think Rome is very, very good. I don't think the gap between Rome and Marv is like crazy
right.
big.
I don't think
Rome
it's
is
astronomically
right.
far.
Rome's a big receiver, and that's what you need. You need like, because it depends. If you resign Keenan, Keenan's big. Keenan this year is your go up and get it. Third and goal. I'm throwing the ball up. He's gonna make a play. He's your
Right.
Mike Evans.
Right.
Do you resign Keenan next year?
Do you resign DJ in 2020? I mean, look at DJ's contract. DJ's contract is cheap as dirt. He was doing the Panthers a favor when he signed it. He's going to be a free agent at the end of 2025. That's a conversation where, we even talked about it before, is like, these two guys are, one is going to expect a bag. DJ, as great of a teammate as he is business. And he
He
made
earned
that
it.
clear. And he earns that. So Keenan, 32 years old now, does he even want to be here? What kind of bag is he looking for? That's the real conversation. So to have a rookie, just like Jackson Smith and Jigba getting drafted, even though they have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, it's important conversations to have, because you look at that and you go, well, listen, we already have, for the Dolphins, we already have Tyreek Hill. We already have all these other guys. That's great. Bring in Jalen Waddle so he can grow on a rookie deal with Tua Tagovailoa. And I think that's going to be key. That's going to be pivotal. For me, myself, I don't think it comes down to what we give up. I think it comes down to the competitors. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, who are adamant, and ESPN, if you turn on First Take or anywhere, they are adamant that they are going to trade their 2 first-round picks this year to get to number 4 to take JJ McCarthy. And with that being said, please take JJ McCarthy number 4. I dare you to take JJ McCarthy number 4. Kid's not a dog. I'm just going to
All that is Harbaugh being a great salesman, because he's
100%.
he's trying to find his way to get Marv at 5. And
You
if he
know,
preaches that he's a quarterback that's going to be the next best thing,
100%,
you draft one more quarterback. The Chargers are picking at 5. Get
without a
they
doubt.
they just got rid of Keenan and Mike Williams. They need a
Everybody,
1. Marv's
Austin
gonna be there.
Eckler, they're all gone. And I think
That's what it
that's
is.
Justin Herbert will be. I mean, Justin Herbert's kicking the air right now if they don't end up with a top tier wide receiver. And I think Malik Neighbors could be that guy too. He's just not. To your point, I love Marv and Rome because they're so similar in physicality. Malik has the speed. Malik's the speed demon. Not that Marv doesn't have that. He does. He just doesn't need to use it in, the Big Ten. But
Right.
I think it's going to be interesting. But this is our last question for the night. And then maybe we'll be back live later on TikTok. Make sure you follow the TikTok. Make sure you check out Luke. He's doing amazing things on Instagram. With that being said, though, man, forget Marv, or maybe don't. What do you want to do with the number 9 overall pick today?
Well, I'll say this: if trading up for Marv is realistic, you'd be crazy not to take him. So that would be ideal. If Rome or Neighbors is available at 9, I think it's more likely to be Rome than Neighbors. But again, I don't
Yeah,
think the big three there with Harrison,
Malik and
Neighbors, and
yeah.
Rome is that big of a difference. So if one of those three is at 9, I think you take them. If all three of them are gone and our next addition would be an edge, so you can address the edge position.
Jared
We
Verse,
talked about
Dallas
this on
Turner.
the that's where you kind of have a choice to make, because there's been a lot of comparisons saying that a lot of these edges are kind of like the receivers. They're neck and neck. So if you can trade with, I don't know, maybe it's Minnesota, maybe it's Denver, maybe you trade back 5 or 6 picks to get up to pick up some capital in the second, third, or fourth round of this year's draft, so you can grab a couple extra players. You do that, and then you can still get like Latu or Verse. Dude, I've seen mock drafts with Verse going like at 27.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have those guys available. It's just, do you want the receiver at 9? And if he's gone, if there's no receiver at 9, they're trading back. That's, to me, that's a no brainer,
Right.
because Dallas Turner, Latu, Verse, all those guys are, it's you're too close to, and I don't want to say waste a pick, but they're too close in talent to not gain more draft capital by trading back 5 picks and then getting one of the 3 that is available.
Most definitely. Luke, we appreciate you for being here, man. Appreciate you tuning in, talking a little Bears shop. We're going to be getting more depth into it. Luke and I will probably be going live together every post game when we're kicking the air or we're celebrating, whatever it may be. Hopefully we're celebrating. But until then, make sure you check Luke out on Instagram right now at Luke Smith, or check out his highlights in college ball, because they're some of my favorite to watch. But with that being said, man, we'll check you guys out later. I'll be going live right now on the Give Us a Shot Network. We're going back to back. We're going to be talking about Ellie De La Cruz, Jazz Chisholm, why Miguel Rojas is an asshole, and so much more going on throughout the league right now. Until then, check you guys out later. This is the Shy Kid with Luke Smith. Bear down, baby.
Peace.
Give them a shot to do what?